Hey everyone, time once again for another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. Here we are on January 2nd, second day of the new year. So let's go ahead and talk about what I did today. Kind of a frustrating day, and I'll go into that. I'm not necessarily going to go in order here, but one very small thing I did on the 69 Bug is I put on its newly keyed door handles. So I think I mentioned yesterday I took some door handles we had off another 69 that we didn't use on that car that were pretty nice nonetheless, and they had the cylinder in them that matched the well, you can't really see it, that matched the key that this car has for the ignition. And the door handles that were in it, the cylinders didn't match, so they weren't for the same key type. So what I did was I took these door handles, pulled their cylinders out, and rekeyed them to match the ignition key for this car. And the handles were actually a little bit nicer than the handles that came on this car, so it got a little bit of an upgrade there. So then I went ahead and installed those with their seals and everything, installed the buttons, made sure everything was working properly. So yeah, pretty happy with how that's all shaping up. Probably go ahead and wrap up the doors on this car here in the not too distant future and put the door panels on and everything. Got everything I need to do that, including the window winders and stuff like that. So yeah, I may go ahead and finish these up here pretty soon. So that wasn't very frustrating, but what was frustrating was the one-piece windows on this car, and not necessarily, I don't even know where to start. So turns out this car has two different doors on it. So that door on the driver's side is off more like a 69 Beetle, and it's kind of what I'm used to from having done the one-piece windows on that car, the red one. But the door on the passenger side is actually a correct door for a 72, which is what this car is. And you can see if you look at it there versus look at that one, you can probably tell that the inner door skin is pretty different on this one. And so some differences are, one is that this area here was not really accommodating the regulator that needs to be used with the one-piece windows, which is the 65 to 67 style. And so I had it in, and it wasn't fitting right. And then finally I realized that this sheet metal here was in the way. So finally I went and cut a notch out of that. And then there's a lip up underneath here that you can't see that I had to flatten out to also clear up underneath there. So once I got all that figured out, the regulator seems to be in there okay, but I think it's going to be really hard to actually get the window glass in these, because what happens is you have to basically pull the regulator out this way, and then the regulator goes in like where my finger is here, in that way. And it seems like with this particular door skin, the regulator is just not really pulling out as far as they usually do, as far as getting that piece of glass up in there. So I feel like it's just going to fight me and be kind of a pain, but I'll be able to get it. It's just going to take longer than it would normally if I had a more cooperative door like the 69 doors. So that side, the driver's side, I think should go pretty easily, because again, it's exactly the same door as on that 69. But this one, which again is correct for this car, it's going to be a bit more of a fight, I think. So anyway, just some kind of frustrating. Oh, the other thing I forgot to mention was that these doors were pretty much gutted, and so there's a channel that bolts onto these doors or into these doors that goes from about here down to about here, that the felt channel that runs around the door goes in. Well, both of those were missing off both sides, and I didn't realize it till I went to put it together. And then this side, which is 72, is different than that side, which you can't see from there. So this is what that channel looks like. So Brian Roth over at Roth Vintage actually had one that will fit the passenger side of this, but then the one that I need for the driver's side is the one that's off a 69, which has a different bracket down here. So trying to hunt one of those down, and it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of fighting me. But I think I will be victorious here, but it's gonna probably cause me to have a few more gray hairs than I already have. We'll see. We'll get it. Just kind of frustrating. I was all set to go and put in the one-piece windows on this, and almost immediately it just started fighting me. So anyway, that was it for that. So let's talk about this one, which was, of course, the thumbnail for tonight's video. So this is the motor for the bitchin' double cab over here. And I finally got the fuel injection system in its entirety here. So you can see I went ahead and bolted the manifolds and the throttle bodies up to the motor. And prior to that, I had finally put on the fan shroud and alternator and all that stuff. Got the fans in there, all that good stuff. So this thing is finally starting to come together. So yeah, pretty much looks like an IDF carbureted motor, dual IDFs, but these are of course throttle bodies. So got one injector here per port, and then the fuel rails, of course, and a big pile of stuff here. So there's this thing here, which is for controlling the idle air. So basically it bypasses the carburetors to give the motor idle for air so it can control the idle speed. So that's that. This giant thing here is the wiring harness for it. So here's the crank position sensor here, and a bunch of other sensors and stuff like that attached to here, and of course the fuel injection. I think these are the fuel injection. No, that's temperature. This should be fuel injection, I think. Yeah, so fuel injection. This is a temperature sensor here for the oil temp. Yeah, and then some linkage and a bag of other goodies, including a wideband O2 sensor, more cables and stuff to figure out. And then these are the high pressure hoses for the fuel plumbing. So yeah, bunch of cool stuff to figure out here. Should be pretty straightforward, I think. I'm not too intimidated by it. Compared to the EV over there, this should be pretty easy. So anyway, yeah, so tomorrow I'm hoping to make some serious headway on this thing. There's an ECU, and there's this thing which need to get mounted up in here somewhere. So I'll probably put the ECU over on that side of the firewall. That air bypass thing for idle control, probably mount that over here somewhere on the firewall. Not 100% sure yet, but yeah, routing stuff and mounting stuff is always one of the more time-consuming parts of any project like this. You want stuff to look nice and be neat and laid out in a way that doesn't just look like an afterthought. Look like it could come from the factory that way. So that's kind of what we aim to do around here, is make things look nice and organized and like they could have come from the factory, ideally. So yeah, I'm gonna be probably working on this quite a bit tomorrow. So I literally just got back with all this fuel injection stuff at, I think, 6:30. It might have even been after 6:30, 6:40 or so tonight. So I am working a little bit late. It's 7 o'clock already. Here I am still in the shop. So I think I need to close it up for the day, go home, eat some dinner, and put my feet up and relax. But yeah, that's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching, and we will see you again tomorrow, Friday. Hope everyone has a good evening. Bye.